Okay, let's just jump right in. What if I told you that in a world where it feels like everyone already has a smartphone, Apple could be on the verge of its biggest quarter ever? Today, we're going to break down exactly how a single hypothetical quarter could be so massive that it completely redefines what we thought was possible. The idea itself is actually pretty simple, right? But the consequences, wow. We're talking about the single greatest sales quarter for the iPhone in its entire history, and not by a little bit. We're talking about an absolute record-shattering landslide. Just look at this chart for a second. See the normal ebb and flow of the past quarters? And then you see Q1 2026. It's not just another bar on the chart. It's a skyscraper next to a bunch of bungalows. This one quarter just completely rewrites the story of the iPhone. Which, of course, brings us to the real heart of the matter. It's the big question we're going to tackle. In a world where it feels like the smartphone market has hit its ceiling, how in the world could a moment like this even happen? This is where we run into a really interesting problem, something analysts like to call the peak iPhone paradox. The basic idea is that the conditions for this kind of mind-blowing growth just shouldn't exist anymore. Let's dig into why that is. I mean, just think about the phone market today. It's totally saturated, right? Pretty much everyone who wants a smartphone has one. The competition is absolutely brutal. Plus, we're all holding on to our phones for way longer these days. And let's be honest, when was the last time a new phone feature really truly blew you away? And to put a number on that saturation, there are over 1.5 billion iPhones active in the world right now. When your user base is already that huge, where does the new growth even come from? It's a massive, massive challenge. This quote from a tech analyst just nails it. In any mature market, I don't care if it's cars, TVs, whatever, the growth curve always flattens out. It doesn't just suddenly launch into orbit. So what could possibly be so different about Q1 2026 that it breaks the laws of tech gravity? So how did this impossible quarter happen? Well, it wasn't just one thing. It was a perfect storm. It was these three powerful forces all coming together at the exact same time to create what the industry calls a supercycle. Basically, a gigantic wave of people all upgrading at once. So here's the secret recipe for that perfect storm. First, you need a revolutionary new design, something that completely changes how we think and use the phone. Second, a huge leap forward in on-device AI. That means artificial intelligence that is lightning fast, totally private, and actually understands you without having to phone home to the cloud. And third, you need total, seamless synergy with the rest of the Apple ecosystem, making the iPhone the undeniable center of your entire digital life. I must be super clear here, we're not talking about small year-over-year tweaks. This is a massive shift. We're going from AI that needs the internet to AI that's instant and deeply personal. The iPhone stops being just a device in your pocket. It becomes the command center for your entire world, tying together your watch, your car, your home, everything. And this is the thing. This wasn't just about selling a ton of phones. Oh no. The success of this one device sends shockwaves through Apple's entire business and, honestly, the entire tech industry. You can see the impact on Apple's bottom line was just staggering. The iPhone slice of the pie jumps to a whopping 65%, cementing its role as the engine that drives the whole company. And because this new iPhone gets you to do so much more, the super profitable services category gets a huge boost too. A single quarter like this completely rewrote Apple's position in the market. They went from being a leader to being utterly dominant. Their brand perception shifted from just premium tech to unassailable innovator. And that ecosystem lock-in, it went from strong to what you could only call gravitational, a pull so powerful on users and developers that it becomes almost impossible to escape. And that ripple effect just kept going. A product like this completely resets what every single one of us expects a smartphone to be. It forces every single competitor to scramble back to the drawing board. It supercharges the entire app economy with brand new possibilities. And maybe most importantly, it locks in a whole new generation of fiercely loyal users. So after a company hits a peak like this, after a success so huge it redefines an entire industry, you've got to wonder, what on earth do you do for an encore? Where do you go from here? When you really look at it, Q1 2026 becomes this moment that proves that even in a so-called mature market, you can still absolutely shatter expectations. It was a moment where Apple didn't just push the limits, it created a whole new reality. And that leaves us with one last, really fascinating question to think about. When you've climbed that high, when you've achieved that kind of absolute success, what does the next mountain even look like? What could possibly come after perfection?